Hello. The main ideas that guide this presentation are, first, a view of design methods as relevant to humanistic inquiry, and second, the idea that visualizing an argument based on historical events can serve to question prominent contemporary discourses. To give context on the origin of the ideas that motivate these projects, this quote expresses in part a sentiment that questions the nation as a categorical unit and looks at transnational ideas on how identities are connected or not to territories. As an immigrant by choice, my first few years in the United States, I realized that there's not such thing as a fixed identity of places. My perception aligns with what geographer Doreen Massey calls a progressive sense of place, centered on understanding identity as an evolving phenomenon, places as holder of multiple identities, and the coexistence of local and global connections. In this presentation, I'll show a series of small projects exploring ideas of identity and history of place. The graphic formats I've used to engage with these subjects include a book, maps, and an interactive archive. The first project, Repeated Cities, is a book collecting homonymous cities between Spain and Latin America. A crucial part of Latin American and Spain identities are bounded to each other. These cities share their name and the urban influence of Spanish towns that developed surrounding a main plaza. The book contrasts the Old Continent and the New World, visualizing connections that are evidence of historical processes. The project was a point of departure to engage in different design methods to look at places and their history. In contrast with the previous project, where the collection of names was small, Repeated Cities US departed from an existing dataset. This computer application, programmed using processing, visualizes a dataset containing the geographic location of cities and towns in the United States. Each dot is a place. The program runs alphabetically through almost 20,000 rows of data, creating networks that connect cities and towns with the same name across the country. The previous visualization was mostly an approach to methods to visualize geographic locations. For Hispanic US, the next project, one of the main arguments in this book by historian Felipe Fernández Armesto is the starting point. Based on the idea that a Hispanic identity has been part of the United States since long before the massive immigration of the last decades, this dataset compiles cities and towns that were once part of the Spanish monarchy or the Mexican Republic, or that were named after a city, a person, or a word of Hispanic origin. In this growing database, I collect histories behind names in an urgency to reveal, understand, and celebrate the diverse and multicultural history of the US. Each place is showed in a sequence, marking its location and related information on the origin of the name. In the next iteration, the same dataset is presented in an interactive version created using Mapbox. I envision a progression of this idea where the names of many origins are traced from Native American names to Dutch, French, Italian, Polish, among others. Such visualization could be a tool to represent the diverse heritage of the US, which is essential to the country. Finally, in the continuation of my inquiry, I started to focus on the state I live at currently. The state of Florida is marked by a historical layer of the Spanish possession that ceased in 1821. The maps used in this project correspond to plats drawn in the 1820s by landowners to represent their lands in an effort to prove ownership after Spain ceded the territory to Florida to the United States. The selected maps contain labels in Spanish that are documental traces of the Hispanic history of the state. The maps offer a glimpse into the visual representations of these fragments of land, and the English translations symbolize the period of transition. The visual interface is aimed to explore maps in the collection. At the core of my inquiry is an interest in the digital humanities, where design is not seen just as a technique, but as an intellectual method to frame research questions. Representing an argument is then a visual format to act as a bridge between design practices and the humanities in the hope to establish methodologies for collaborative interdisciplinary endeavors. Thank you.